All right, if you're gearing up for your exams, you already know the deal. That NTA UGC Net syllabus, it's dense. Staring at endless pages of theory is just plain exhausting. But hey, today in this explainer, we are completely transforming those heavy textbook notes into a highly visual, gamified masterclass. We're going to break it all down so you can absolutely ace this. Let's get right into it.
Here is our game plan for today. 1. Decoding basic communication. 2. Mass communication explained. 3. Journalism versus mass comm. 4. 8 core media functions. 5. Mass media in India. And 6. We'll wrap it up with a quick knowledge check.
Starting right off with Section 1, Decoding Basic Communication, or the Journey of a Message.
Look, at its absolute core, communication isn't just about dumping data from point A to point B like a machine. It's this rich, dynamic process of creating, sharing, and interpreting meaning. It always kicks off with the sender, the person originating the idea. They craft the message, send it through a channel like, say, human speech or a digital screen, straight to the receiver. But here's the kicker. The loop is not closed until we get feedback. That is specifically the receiver's response to the sender. Oh, and a pro tip for your exams, don't forget noise. We're not just talking about construction outside your window. It's literally any disturbance on this path, a bad Wi-Fi connection, a cultural misunderstanding, anything that messes with the clarity of the message.
Moving right along to Section 2, Mass Communication Explained, where we scale up the message. So, what happens when you take that simple one-on-one flow and blow it up to a massive institutional level? Well, in mass communication, the sender is usually a huge institution, right? Like a TV network or a newspaper. Because of that, the audience shifts completely. We're talking huge, geographically scattered, and here is an exam favorite buzzword, heterogeneous. That just means highly diverse in age, class, culture, you name it. Plus, they are totally anonymous to the sender. I mean, the editor of a major paper doesn't personally know the millions of people reading their articles. And because of this sheer scale, the whole process is inherently technology-based. That feedback loop we just talked about, it gets super delayed or highly limited. You can't exactly nod along to a podcast and expect the host to see you doing it.
Okay, Section 3, Journalism versus Mass Comm, which brings us to the Russian doll effect.
It is so incredibly common for students, and honestly even seasoned pros, to constantly mix these two up, but their scopes are vastly different. Journalism is laser-focused. It's strictly about collecting, verifying, and presenting news for the public interest. Its absolute non-negotiables are truth, fairness, and objectivity. Mass communication, on the other hand, it's way broader. It covers information, sure, but also entertainment, persuasion, and studying how media affects society. Think of it exactly like a Russian nesting doll. Journalism, with its strict focus on facts and news, sits entirely tucked inside the much bigger, expansive shell of mass communication. Journalism is part of it, for sure, but mass comm is the whole shebang, including PR, advertising, and cinema.
Let's hit Section 4, 8 core media functions. Get ready for some exam cheat codes. We are squarely in heavily tested territory now. This is all about identifying media functions, and I'm going to give you the exact cheat codes you need to map academic terms directly to your exam clues. The first 4 are pretty intuitive. Information pairs with facts and updates. Education is learning, entertainment links to leisure, persuasion is all about influencing attitudes. Super straightforward, right? But lean in for these next 4 because examiners love them. First, surveillance. When you see this, your instant trigger is watch and warn, like a disaster alert. Next, correlation. Your clue here is interpret and explain, connecting the dots so society gets the big picture. Then there's cultural transmission, which simply means passing down values and traditions across generations. And finally, mobilization, motivating a crowd for collective action, like a huge health campaign or getting out the vote. Seriously, burn these pairs into your memory.
Let's bring this home with Section 5, Mass Media in India, focusing on the cultural context. Let's look at how all these high-level theories actually play out in India's incredibly diverse multilingual landscape. Our media ecosystem is basically a fascinating dual-engine machine. You've got modern media on one side and traditional or folk media on the other. Modern media is the stuff you're probably using right now, apps, podcasts, television. But traditional media? Things like yakshagana, tamasha, puppetry, or bhajans, they are absolutely vital. Why? Because while modern tech handles the urban spread, culturally rooted folk media is the lifeblood of rural outreach. It perfectly bridges the gap for communities that might face literacy barriers or spotty internet. They are the true backbone of regional identity and grassroots development communication.
All right, time for Section 6. Let's do a quick knowledge check and test your instincts. Knowing the theory is one thing, but you've got to be able to apply it. Let's run a rapid-fire check with some previous year questions. Here's your first challenge. The media function that warns society about threats and events is called what? Is it A, entertainment, B, surveillance, C, correlation, or D, cultural transmission? Think back to that cheat code matrix for a second. Which one was directly tied to watching out and warning the public?
Got it? The answer is B, surveillance. The magic words there were watch and warn. If you locked in surveillance, you absolutely nailed it. It acts quite literally as society's early warning system.
Let's try another one, pulling straight from that Indian cultural context we just mapped out. Try to spot the medium that does not rely on modern tech. Which of the following belongs to traditional or folk media? A, news portal, B, community podcast, C, puppetry, or D, news app?
Yep, it's C, puppetry. It stands right alongside village meetings and folk theater as an incredibly powerful, trusted tool for local communication. It's been passing down values since way before the internet was even a thought. Okay, for our final question, let's revisit that Russian doll concept and make sure that spatial relationship really clicked. Which statement is correct regarding the relationship between journalism and mass communication? Just visualize which one fits inside the other.
And here is the correct statement. Journalism is a part of mass communication, but mass communication is broader than journalism. This perfectly wraps up our core takeaway from earlier. Journalism is a highly specialized gear, obsessed with facts and news, spinning inside the massive, all-encompassing engine that is mass communication.
Well, you now have a rock-solid grip on the foundational architecture of communication theory. So as we wrap up this explainer, I have a challenge for you. The next time you consume any media today, whether it's a push notification on your phone, a political ad, or a street play, ask yourself, what is the hidden function here? Is it just educating you, or is it secretly trying to mobilize you? Who's the sender, and what do they actually want? Once you start spotting these invisible structures, I promise you will never look at your newsfeed the same way again.